Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM. We welcome you all back to our program. Also, those joining us through our online affiliates, we welcome you, and also our new audience that's joining us through iHeartRadio. We're so glad that you all could be with us as well. Author Robert Eddison is making his first appearance on our program this year to talk to us about a fun book that I had a chance to read and enjoy that I'm glad I'm able to share with all of you. It's called Wisdom and Wordplay, 300 Original One-Liners to Enrich Your Day. Robert is not only an author, but also a public speaker and playwright. We're going to talk to him about his own love affair with words, what it's been like for him to discover that for himself, and then to be able to now share it with the world and to see the way that people literally around the world are responding to it. Now, if you're just not hearing about the book Wisdom and Wordplay, we'll tell you at the end of our segment how you can get your own copy of it. But, Robert, hello to you, and welcome to the program. Glad to have you on with us.
Hello, Cyrus. I'm delighted to be with you.
Well, the pleasure is definitely all mine, Robert. Congratulations to you on the new book. As I said, people around the world are already singing your praises when it comes to Wisdom and Wordplay. What has it been like for you already to see the response to it, Robert?
Quite amazing. I mean, for 20 years, Cyrus, this was just a private hobby. And you know how it is with private diaries. I call them my thought diaries. They are ideas that I sort of condense into a single line, rather than putting down that I bought butter rather than margarine or peanut butter at the local store. I find it more interesting doing it as thoughts. And 20 years worth, I had no idea they would, go public, and my friends rather insisted on me publishing them. And I'm very glad I did, because as you rightly say, the response has been quite amazing and very surprising. I mean, I was only starting with a very small, slim volume, and it looks as if it's taken off. I mean, it was a bestseller on the night of the launch. It's got about 18 five-star reviews currently on Amazon, and it's selling like hotcakes everywhere.
Well, it is an amazing book, and I think the thing that I think really resonates with people, Robert, I know it does for me personally, is that so much of what you write in this book is not only, there's some things that are funny, some things that kind of make you think, and then other things that are more sobering. One of my favorites that I've been sharing with people is actually written in the section called Dark, and for those who have the book already, it's on page 50, and that is, death comes as a rude awakening. And that is so true, and I think so many times, and I've said it on this program over the years, that a lot of times we take so much for granted until something happens to someone in our lives, or we lose a loved one, we lose someone in death, and it really makes us think about what really matters. I mean, is that kind of how you look at words, being able to find something that kind of fits all occasions?
In a way, yes. I look at thoughts more. Some of them complex, some of them simple. The complex ones I take a little time to condense into a single line, and when I've done it, I get the most wonderful buzz, sort of eureka moment.
Yeah, and I think that eureka moment, I think, is something that is also seen in the section Reflective. There are two of them ones, and it ties in perfectly with what you just said, Robert. One of the ones that I thought was really interesting is this. Only when happy in your own skin can you put yourself in another. And I think, for so many people, I mean, being happy with oneself is not an easy thing. What has that been like for you to be able to find that you are someone who's unique and you have a gift that only you can share? How has that affected you?
Well, you're right. It's been a long journey for me, Cyrus. I mean, when I started, I was a very self-conscious adolescent, very introspective, and very concerned about what people thought of me from school onwards. And gradually you learn, I think, to build up your self-confidence. You create, you get praise in certain quarters when you do well, and you end up being actually rather self-confident. And I need this self-confidence in order to feel that going public with my private diaries would not be too big a risk. I think I would have not had the sufficient degree of self-esteem 10 years ago to do this, but now I've done it, I'm very pleased, because to my surprise again, I mean, I've got a massive following on Twitter, 33,000 followers, I think it is. On Instagram, I've got about 15,000 followers, which shows, that they are popular, these aphorisms, and they really seem to resonate with all classes and all backgrounds and ages of people, which I had wondered about. And it looks as if I think it's the playfulness that you referred to, which carries them as much as anything.
For sure, and I think that's so true. Another one under reflective that I wanted to mention, and I think this is one for our audience to consider, Robert, and that is a clear conscience. It's on page 31, makes the best sleeping pill. I have definitely found this to be so true. I mean, talk to us about that and that revelation for you.
The flip side of that, of course, is that guilt makes for insomnia.
Right. For sure. And I tell you, and I think when people, and that's the thing about a book like this, I love the fact that this is a book, Robert, that people can approach in a non-judgmental way, that they can be able to, even as the title says, they can find wisdom and also a great set of wordplay for sure. Another one, I hadn't thought about sharing it, but I think I will, under reflective, that's also in this that I think is something that we can all learn from, is those who spend their time telling us how busy they are get little done.
I enjoy that. The business ones have been very popular on Twitter, by the way.
Right.
It's lovely. Having said that, it was a huge challenge to break the mold of aphorisms, which I think I've done, and make them readable and welcome to everybody who can read, who has a love of language. Because up to now, Cyrus, they've been very much confined to the scholars and the reference book category, which is very unpopular. It's bottom of the list. Because if you want to Google the middle name of the first Bush, you don't pull down a dusty encyclopedia from your shelf. You Google it, and you've got it in a moment. So the reference book category, hitherto, has been very unpopular. But I think I've made it popular, as you said, by importing this feeling of playfulness and fun, because that is, coming back to your first question, that is what I get from my love of words. It's the playfulness, the fun, the wordplay, the way you can jiggle them and get surprising results.
Yeah, for sure. And those results, I think, are something, again, that people around the world are appreciating. For those who are just tuning in, either on the Radio Dial or online or through our new friends at iHeartRadio, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome author and journalist Robert Eddison to our program. We're discussing with him not only his own love of words and thoughts, but also how he's been able to put those together in the new book, Wisdom and Wordplay, 300 original one-liners to enrich your day. Now, I am following you on Twitter as well. I have to make sure that I am following you on Instagram as well. Robert, talk to us about how those platforms have helped you, because I don't think people really realize how social media can amplify our voices in a way like very few things can. How have those platforms helped you?
By boosting my confidence, by validating the judgment of my friends, which in the early days I discounted and didn't act on, did not go public for many, many years. People are constantly saying, why did you wait 20 years to go public? Well, if I hadn't had the success this book is having, I think I probably would have drawn a line under it and called it a day and just resumed to my private hobby. But given that it's giving so much pleasure to people, I want to go on, and in fact, I now will be my second book will be launched probably in March. I'm planning an American edition, and I would love to come over to New York to launch that. The American edition will be similar to the book you're reading, but it'll have an additional 100 fresh, new aphorisms, hopefully of the same quality.
Wow. Well, what an exciting thing to be able to do. Now, along with people being able to, of course, retweet your work and to share it there, I love the fact that you make it very clear on Twitter that these are yours. These are your thoughts. And the reason I bring that up is this, Robert, because I think so many times we don't own our own greatness. We don't own our own uniqueness. What has that been like for you to know that this is something that came from you, that people are willing to want to share and to be able to engage you with, and that is really resonating with them?
Well, it's very interesting you asked that question. At the launch on October the 25th, I was interviewed by the father of the British Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson. His father, Stanley, interviewed me. And the clip shows him taking 5 minutes, bless his heart, to get his head round the fact that they were all from one mind. Because hitherto they've largely been compilations of sort of 20 or 30 different aphorisms over the years, basically dead men's work, from Confucius, the ancients, right down to the modern times to Noah Coward and Oscar Wilde, whereas all these are mine. And the clip that is currently being shown in the States shows the difficulty he had. And he actually said, I can understand you doing 20 or 40 or 60, I'm quoting him, aphorisms, but 300, he said, it's extraordinary. I then told him that this book, Wisdom and Wordplay, constitutes just 100th part of my total work, 100th part. There are many more books to come in the series, and they're all written.
What an amazing thing. And I should say, too, my friends get on me a lot, Robert, because I do tend to lean more toward the serious. But there are some funny things as well. Now, my sense of humor is not the best. I will go ahead and let you know that. But even I found these funny. And one of my favorites is narcissists have only themselves to praise. I love that one. And the other one that you have about gravity, never letting you down. I think, there are so many things that even in the humor, though, there are great lessons for us as well. Is that also part of your hope, that we're able to find ways to laugh at ourselves, to laugh at the world, but also to kind of give some thought as to why we find that funny and what it means to us?
Yes, I agree. I think humor is a very good conduit to owning possibly a rather deeper or more profound thought. It's rather like the wrapping round a sweet. It enables you to It whets your appetite. You want to unwrap it. You want to unwrap the meaning behind the humor. And I think thus presented, it's more assimilable than if it were just very sort of bare, scholarly, humorless lines, which I'm not sure would sell very widely.
For sure. And I have to mention this aspect as well, Robert. You are going to not only entertain people, but I think you're also going to encourage other people to embrace their own unique voice. What has that been like for you to hear? Because I'm sure you're already getting the emails or seeing the messages. What has that been like for you to encourage other people just by doing what you've done to be able to find their voice and to share it?
Well, again, you've hit something absolutely spot on. This is exactly what I hope to do with Wisdom and Wordplay, is to engage the reader. And in fact, Professor Adrian Poole, who was chair of English literature at Cambridge University, the top man in English, he said that that many thousands of my aphorisms are of the same quality as in Wisdom and Wordplay. Not all of them. But my whole purpose is to engage the reader, and this is why I have 4 blank pages at the end called notes, for the reader to be inspired to devise their own one-liners, which in fact could turn out to be better than mine. I'm rather worried about this.
Well, look, I think that the great thing is to know that you've been able to be that spark for sure. I have to share another one in the humor section because I think for many people this will definitely say a lot to them. Everyone has character. The question is which one. You know what I?
Well,
and I think
what I'm doing here, Cyrus, is doing very much my great the man I really bow to for his brilliance is Oscar Wilde. And what he does, he's very simple, and he takes well-worn phrases, very often cliches, and just gives them that extraordinary twist, which gives them a completely new meaning in life. There's that famous one, of course, we know the price of everything and the value of nothing. Now, there's a very simple, one-syllable words, 1 or 2 syllable words, and he's just twisted a bit of a cliche into something highly, highly original.
Right, for sure. Do you
find
yourself?
That is what I enjoy doing.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Robert. I was just going to ask you, do you find yourself, because we've been, one of the themes, if it can be called that we've kind of addressed on the program this year, have been about overcoming fear, overcoming doubt, or even getting out of our own way. Was that something that you found yourself having to do in order to see this book make it to the light of day?
I love the depth of some of your questions, Cyrus. I find this quite inspiring, this interview. Again, spot on, because like all of us, I was brainwashed into responding to pressure with a stress reaction, which is a form of fear. And once I realized that I could equally well respond to pressure by being totally relaxed, as I am now with this interview, I'm not remotely stressed, because it's taken me 10 years for my body and my brain to react to pressure by relaxing. And if you want to stress me, if you want to make me more relaxed, what you do is you put me under more pressure, and I find myself having automatically relaxed, just as I was brainwashed earlier to find myself automatically responding to pressure with a stress reaction. So that, I think, answers your question about fear. I've largely negated all fear, and I find that the reward I get is that my conscious mind is in much closer touch now with my subconscious, and I've never, ever suffered from writer's block as a result. In fact, I have the opposite problem. I average now 7 fresh new original aphorisms every day of the week, so about 50 a week. And I could never have done that 15 years ago when I was still rather fearful.
Wow. What an amazing thing. That brings me to the final one that I'd like to share, and appropriately so, Robert, it's under wisdom. I love this one, and I think this is something that I do motivational messages on Instagram every day, and this is one that I feel like is so personable for me on page 104. Without obstacles, there is little achievement. Is that kind of your encouragement for anyone out there, whether it's writing or whatever it is that they want to do, to not to allow the thought of it or the fear of it or what people say to them stop them from doing it?
Yes, and I think the best form education could take in England, which sadly it doesn't, is to teach children how to overcome obstacles, to accept that they're going to be under pressure, and then teach them how to live, as I've had to teach myself, nobody else has taught me, how to live with that pressure and overcome it. Because the minute they leave school, they're going to find themselves rejected for all sorts of jobs they've set their heart on. They're going to have to deal with a lot of obstacles. Buying a house is almost impossible now in London for anybody under 40. How are they going to cope with those obstacles unless in school they've been taught how to do so? Sadly, it's the opposite is the case. In school, in British schools now, and I say this quite boldly, mainly in state schools, and this is controversial, but it's true, children are over-nannied, over-protected. I was at my GP yesterday. I said I had a slightly painful back, and I was going to sit on the edge of the chair. My GP said, "Oh, don't do that, Robert, you could fall down." Can you believe it? We are so nannied, it's just appalling. And I dread to think how children leaving school in Britain are going to deal with obstacles. I fear they will fall at the first bar.
Wow. Well, it's great that they have examples like you, Robert, to be able to show them the importance of, and I think, too, the lessons that can come from just trying. And I think, I think that stepping outside of one's comfort zone, outside of, again, the boundaries that have been put in front of them, sometimes can reap some amazing rewards. And I think, again, this is one of those books that will be able to help them to see the importance of going about things and finding out, discovering the world. And I think your love of the world, to me, comes out in so many different ways in this book, Robert, because, you deal with not only things that we deal with, also, of course, there are the animal references that come out, the references about the world around us. And so it really shows your curiosity about the world. And I think that curiosity, is that also something that you hope other people will be able to make their own?
I do, and I have an aphorism about that, if I can recall it, that curiosity is to learning and knowledge what muscles are to... I make the parallel between curiosity... curiosity is to knowledge what weights are to muscles.
Yeah, it's a great thing. And so something that all of us can be able to do, especially as we're looking forward into the new year for sure. Again, everyone, Robert Eddison has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Robert. The book is Wisdom and Wordplay, 300 Original One-Liners to Enrich Your Day. It's available now through our friends at Amazon.com or through, of course, your favorite bookstore. You can also stay connected with Robert. He has a website. It's www.robertedison.com, and I should say that's Edison with 2 Ds. So robertedison.com is where you all can go to stay connected with Robert. Robert, this has been a great conversation for me as well. Thank you for the compliment about the show. I appreciate that, and I hope you'll come back again.
I would love to, Cyrus. I've thoroughly enjoyed every minute.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.